Alrighty, I've done reactions before, but I think this is the first time I've done a breakdown of a deep dive for a horror game where the directors are talking about what is pertinent in the game, the enemies, the environments, all the characters that will be involved, or the bits and bobs of the combat systems. And Cronos The New Dawn, this new game looks like an amalgamation of Dead Space and The Thing and Callisto Protocol. This is a new sci-fi horror done by Bloober Team. Bloober Team has been pretty much on the up and up to me in terms of how they've been presenting projects. I've been heavily invested into what they are doing next. They are not only the people that are the brainchild behind Silent Hill 2 remake, but they're also remaking Silent Hill 1, which is a video I illustrated on my channel with the reaction, and also talking about the ideas of stuff I want to show up in the game. We're gonna give their second game a chance, and let's see what they introduce here with the mechanics at play. Let's press start and let's get this party started.
Hello, my name is Jacek Ziemba and I am game director in Project Cronos.
And my name is Shamilian Bukhtin. I'm lead combat designer here in Cronos.
And today we want to talk about...
No, I'm gonna pause like right here. I know they're just introducing themselves. I believe that Bloober has two teams, if I'm not too mistaken, which is why they made Silent Hill 2 remake with another squad, and this team is working on Cronos The New Dawn. And it kind of has me curious, are they going to make two Silent Hill games at the same time when this Cronos team is done, and maybe fast track Silent Hill 3 remake? I don't know, that's up to wishful thinking. Maybe they have other IPs at play. If they're good, I'll check them out.
Combat in Cronos The New Dawn.
Serious business. So we want to make a combat experience in a surviving atmosphere where we put a lot of emphasis into a tactical experience for the players.
We need to stay cautious and call all the time because our enemies...
Oh shit, this is crazy. Like I said, this is a mixture of Dead Space, Callisto Protocol, and The Thing, and they all just had a nasty contaminated baby, and this is what you're seeing right now on screen. So the presentation looks pretty fucking nuts already as is.
And because our enemies, orphans, can merge with each other, so when you kill an enemy, it creates, in a way, a fuel.
It looks like the frame rate as well got a bit better, which I appreciate. This is like the tactical shotgun style thing. He mentioned something about the enemies merging, which I imagine they showed this before in like other presentations where the body's like on the ground and shit, and the enemies would tentacle the other monsters, meaning that even in death, it kind of reminds me a little bit, just a little bit. It's not the same mechanic, but it reminds me a little bit of what happens when you kill zombies in Resident Evil 1 remake and you leave them around and they turn into stronger Crimson Heads. This is an even faster mutation, which I wonder what is the strategy going to be, and it's probably just killing the enemies before they even have a chance to stand over the other one that is deceased, and don't let them merge.
It creates, in a way, a fuel for other enemies to be absorbed and then to become stronger. So yeah, it's tactical gameplay, but during the fight you need to also think very fast. What should you do?
I think Callisto Protocol also had this in a different way, where some enemies would get stronger based on certain criteria. It's nice to see this mechanic come into a game in a fresh new way with a fresh new perspective.
Since we're aiming into the tactical and decision-making approach, we are making each encounter in the game handcrafty, which leads to that somewhere you have environment as your own advantage. Somewhere
We got a charge pistol here that can definitely do some kneecapping, which is, that's the common thing in some of these third-person horror games. Shoot someone in the leg, they go down instantly, and then I guess he's gonna do head stomp.
not, and it's gonna be a disadvantage.
Oh no, never mind, he's caught up in this wall thing. What the fuck?
Somewhere you can use this.
Also, yeah, the Traveler also has a light on him too, from what I see. Yeah.
advantage. Somewhere not, and it's gonna be a disadvantage. Somewhere you can use the canister. Somewhere you can lure the enemy out into your position. Or you can do vice versa and just go into melee and fight with your enemies with your best luck.
You can just punch the shit. You can just punch the shit out of them.
Do vice versa and just go into melee and fight.
Oh, okay. There is melee mechanics in this game, and we saw the stomp. I've never seen the punch until now, and obviously in the presentations they showed these red barrels on the ground, this sort of exploding ring with a gun that you have in the game. It's kind of interesting. I guess as a strategist for horror games, the main thing you're gonna want is to get these enemies to get into a position as soon as possible, and if you can, blow them up. You're taking multiple enemies with you. The idea of them not merging will probably lessen due to doing this, right? So it's all entertaining, it's all interesting to me, but it's a lot of basic setup that you've probably seen in a lot of other sci-fi horror IPs, namely Dead Space. I think Dead Space also had the red containers, except you have stasis, and you could also like grab things, you could also launch things, you could also freeze enemies in that game. And I'm wondering, will they have those elements of the Traveler, because this is a time travel style of game. Like, I would love to send a fucking creature all the way back to the past and kill it or freeze it, or do something with those mechanics. And I hope there's more time element based strategy to the game itself, as opposed to it just being a normal plot point for the game.
Canister. Somewhere you can lure the enemy out.
I want to use time as a weapon. That'd be pretty cool. It's putting me in my Quantum Break bag a little bit. My Max Payne bag a little bit. Can I use these elements to like do shit with and have cool powers? That'd be pretty awesome. Maybe late in the game, I don't know, we'll see.
Into your position. Or you can do vice versa and just go into melee and fight with your enemies with your best luck.
There's no one solution to how to, clear out arenas and so on. Depends on your playstyle. Even in, in here when we, develop the game, some of us play more offensive, more defensive. It all depends on your loadout, your gameplay style in a way, and how you want to approach it, and how many resources you have. So there's a lot of variability there.
Okay, I like that. Player choice, player freedom.
It's actually up to you how the resource management would be handled, because here we are giving you different types of weapons, different tools, abilities, and throughout the game you have to by yourself figure out.
Oh, that gun is so fucking awesome. It's like a transmorphing gun. That shit is amazing.
You have to by yourself.
Your pistol can turn back, and then you got like your little brass knuckles. That's cool. That's probably how you swap out the weapons and hit enemies with them. You basically go from hand to hand, and then you go from the pistol, and then you go from the shotgun maybe, and it's all simultaneous.
Figure out what works best for you, what kind of player you are, and what kind of strategy fits for you better in our environment.
Resource management is also a key, of course, in survival horror, but definitely in our game. So it's very important.
Okay, we have a glimpse of the store, which is very basic bits and bobs here. You got your handgun ammo that you can buy. It's probably a store vendor somewhere within the game, or it's a store management system somewhere in between levels. You know how they do it. They like to spruce it up a little bit. Basic handgun ammo, your shell patch. What does the shell patch do? Is there any sort of description on that? No, he's just buying chemical compounds of everyday use suitable for fabricating many usable resources. So I would imagine these give you like more constructs to upgrade either some of your weapons, or maybe you can craft ammunition, I guess. You have shotgun shells as well, but you could buy like normal ammunition. Maybe it's a little bit of both. You craft items as well. Maybe you can craft that into like a medical supply.
So it's very important what you are doing before the fight with the resource, during the fight, and after the fight.
There we go. And this is some of the inventory. It kind of looks a little bit like Last of Us-ish with the inventory and how you can combine things to make other parts and pieces. It says this is a combine cartridge. You can use 2 chemicals and then you can use 3 parts and make something else. Clear, it has, what else does this remind me of in terms of inventory? A little bit of Tormented Souls as well. Tormented Souls, Last of Us, combine shit everywhere, your items. Let's see. You can also set things on fire. They did confirm there is a goddamn flamethrower within this game, which we're going to be using to torch, burn, and set things asunder. Let's see, what else do we got here? So the parts are full. There is a limit cap to the things that you have, because it says like 3 for 3 on chemicals, 3 for 3 on parts. Let's see these weapons here. That looks like a rifle. This is a shotgun. This is, I don't know if that's another shotgun or another handgun. They have to really sort of clarify that. It says carbine type.
If you are more
So
offensive
he clearly does have a rifle.
player, you can craft any more ammunition. You're more
Yeah, so you craft the chemicals and then the parts and then you make more ammo, just like I kind of suspected a little bit earlier.
defensive one or want to have more health packs. Okay, from the same resources you will decide, okay, I want to have something for, you know, when it will be needed.
Yes, of course you can. As many other survival horror games, we may...
Yeah, they didn't have upgrading your character in here. Well, some survival horror games don't have that. It's not a super widespread commonality between all of them. You have survival horror games that either have an upgrading tree for the character, whether it's faster sprints or taking more damage from an enemy. Like I think Evil Within is a perfect paradigm and example, and then there's other horror games where you don't get that and the upgrades are more through the inventory and the weapons and the management you get from there. With Resident Evil, you don't get like things like health upgrades in some of them. When you're playing Remake 2, it's just mostly you get things like carrying cases or ammunition pouches or upgrades to your weapons where you can make a shotgun or a magnum or something else stronger. And I think them going in this route is pretty interesting.
Decent.
They want you to upgrade, toy around, and let's see the screen that they have for the upgrade menu, because I want to skip to that real quick. This definitely reminds me a lot of Dead Space. Firepower for the handgun, stability, which I assume is, you know, accuracy, how you can hold a gun, less pain wobble. You can do the upload speed, which is when you're not upload but reloading a weapon. When you reload your weapon, you reload it really fast. You got your charge speed, which there was earlier in the video charging of the handgun, and as he charged that bitch up, he shot like someone's leg off. And also upgrading the clip, your typical stuff for your gun. Very routine, very basic, very understandable. But it says here the temporal shell, the suits, that's something that you could also upgrade. Your flamethrower, handgun, shotgun, carbine, flamethrower, all that fun and interesting shit. Also, you can sell these weapons as well, so I guess, yeah, you would have this bartering system in play.
Weaponry, your tools, your suit, it's up to you how you would like to upgrade your character that fits best for your playstyle.
Just let me melee everything, bro. That's it. That's the only thing I want, is to melee every head off that I see, and I think I'm all well and good and fine and dandy with that.
In Cronos game, we came up with the different takes on the enemies. So here we build different types of roles for them. So I'm imagining a role of a runner whose basic goal is to run to the player and kill him as fast as it can.
That thing has like no head.
Basic.
Fuck. It looks like a female too. You see that? Weird female stalker with like one elongated arm. Maybe you shoot off the arm, and I don't know if they're gonna go whole hog into detaching ligaments in order to get an advantage and maybe have the enemy mutate further. That's kind of what they did a little bit in Callisto. They would mutate further into stronger beings as well. And with the merging system, maybe it's not all to just that with them mutating. I guess we have to see if they can do it on their own depending on the damage given. But this thing has no fucking head.
Basic goal is to run to the
Titties bouncing, just trying to smack the hell out of the traveler. It's like kind of funny.
player and kill him as fast as it can. Or a different one, which is like a ranger character who stands behind and shoots you and forces you to
Okay, typical acid spit, long range enemy. All right, cool.
go closer to him. There are bruisers, there are big ass tanky guys.
Big ass tanky guys. Okay. That's a nice description.
Whose the only goal is to grab as much resources they can from you.
Yeah, those enemies that we saw. Oh, look at the eyes in the dark. That's really fucking creepy. that's creepy, I'm not gonna lie. Also, it looks like the traveler has like this goo all over him. Maybe it's blood.
With that idea, we created a lot of unique encounters within the game, and we're asking you to think, analyze, and decide on yourself what would be the best target to start fighting.
All of that is flipped by.
All right, again, like I said, I think player choice in survival horror is very important, which is why I don't like when they strip set features and it makes you question certain things, like why can't I sneak around this enemy, or why can I not evade this encounter? And I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna be brutally honest, I was kind of feeling that a little bit with Silent Hill 2 Remake, where can I just run away? Oh no, this nurse that's like deep on my ass trying to cut me into confetti, strings, ribbons, white steak, because that's what changed this, like Caucasian steak, right? Turn me into steak strips. I could barely get away from some of them. The option is there, but it doesn't seem indicative with the camera lock and everything, and I hope this game sort of explores fight or flight. And I talked about this in my Silent Hill 1 remake video. I want to see more options to the potential of letting the fear get to you and running away and surviving another day. That needs to be paramount to some of these games where, yes, I have a choice to do this, that, or the third, and unless I'm locked into a boss encounter, then I should be able to try to disengage combat and try to regroup, and the enemies will grow more resilient, adaptive, and stronger that way. You know, they'll be waiting for me and I have to plan my course of action. And they're saying all the lip service, but I need to see this in action in the game and play it for myself in order to get the full experience. I hope all of this culminates into a very fun experience. And I think this comes out, October 12th. It's supposedly leaked, got decoded. I think Bloober took it down. I will be definitely picking this up along with Silent Hill F.
A merge system, so even if you're very good at what Shannon said, when merge happen, now your running enemy can become a tank enemy.
Oh yeah.
And
it seems they have stages to enemy merges, and with this you see the white pasty face one here. You have your low level, which is I assume level 1, the basic monster, and then you move to this one. It's like a secondary merge, but there's also a third one, and I wonder if the same philosophy and paradigm triggers that. If you let them merge way too much, you get to level 3 and this motherfucker's a brawlic tank. He can do certain things that he couldn't do. It looks like he has like a little bit more of that skin, fleshy, pustule armor on his character, and I assume this is going to be a bitch to deal with. This is for players who, sometimes I want to actually experiment. I want to see what happens. I let this guy get level 3. Can I still defeat him in a way, or is it just something that I don't want this to happen? I don't need this to happen. I don't need this in my life. And that's the entire point of the system. But I also like to test it and test my strength and say like, oh, I'm really good in this game at this point. You can get to level 3, but I can deal with you no problem. I want to fight, actually. And I hope that gives the incentive to the player that, yes, if you want to go in and you think you're good enough at the game, let them merge and see what happens. So I like those discussions. I like those aspects because I want to see them do differing things as well. I hope they're not just a skin swap for more damage. Like maybe have the guy with the hook hands do things where he could do things that he couldn't really do before. Whether it's getting faster or you know, having a longer reach, which I assume is the case here with the arm, and having it do more damage, and maybe you know, spitting out some substance which it couldn't do before. New moves, new animations basically would be cool to see the more they get upgraded.
Even have a range attack now, or other attacks, and just
Oh yeah, they do that. They will have attacks that they never had before, despite being a certain class, like a brute or whatever. So yeah, it's imperative to not let them get to the state. But sometimes I want to be like, you know, I can kick this thing's ass, right? No problem, right? so maybe I might get a little cocky. We'll see.
become stronger and stronger.
Oh my god, look at this fucking thing at this point.
And just become stronger and stronger if you let them merge, so don't do it. So you need to be very careful, you know, how to
I'll take the challenge. I'll do it. I'm just crazy enough. I'm fucking crazy, man.
approach combat with our enemies, because different things can happen during the fight, but also we mix that with different types of
Oh, okay, so that's a little move where he burnt off the tendrils and exposed the enemy. I like that. It's like a secondary alt fire.
with different types of enemies, like more sneaky ones or like more like trap-like ones here and there, also to change the pace of the game. But also I think somebody said something about boss fights.
No,
You're not gonna show those. No way.
no. We're not talking about boss fights.
So yeah, that's a secret, sorry.
Yeah, well, I just hope the bosses are just as dynamic as the enemies. Maybe they will also have their merging system as well. That's one thing to ponder. You have this mechanic for basic enemies. Can the bosses do it as well? The thinking cap goes on tonight.
Yes and no. So all travelers need to jump to the past to extract some targets, but each of them will have different, let's say, list of them.
Okay, that's a little story related thing. I guess we'll find out. There was one traveler that's against the main traveler in the last trailer, and I kind of want to see what that is about, because obviously missions going in parallel has to lead to missions coming in conflict with one another.
You can find an upgrade in the game that can tell the state of health of enemies. So how much they still have before you kill them by using guns.
Here's my RPG damage per second stat within the game, right? Oh man, that's kind of cool though. I don't mind that. I like that. I like telling when something is dead, done, and finished forever. So that's a cool little perk that they added. I like that. How does stomping work? I think I have a good idea. Hold on, let me interject this into the video. We're gonna take a page out of the playbook 101 from Mr. Isaac Clarke.
You piece of shit! Son of a bitch!
Son of a bitch! Motherfucker! It's just, please, I don't think they're gonna have the traveler swear, but this is, I had it like cut up all the way. Goddamn, I'm sorry about that if it was loud, but this shit is so funny.
Die! Fuck you!
Fuck you! Just, if only, like, every stomp has a swear word, and I think that is the most fun shit to do when you stomp the fuck out of something and Isaac just goes off. Look, it ain't gonna be the same in this game, but I wouldn't mind seeing that in like another Dead Space in the future, another game, so to speak, where just have this guy go whole hog and demonstrate his anger. He's stomping the shit out of this fucking alien on the ground, okay?
You raise your leg and you stomp.
Okay, you're corny though. You raise your leg and then you stomp, and then the head goes bye-bye.
With a heavy sound.
Yeah.
I like that though.
No.
What was that question? Wait. Is the device on the traveler's back a weapon? All right, yeah. Well, they answered that
No.
real quick. No. What if you let them merge?
You will suffer.
Okay, then. I'm looking forward to that. I think that's going to lead to a lot of hilarious live stream deaths, but wish me luck, people. Wish me the best of luck.
So that's all for today. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for more materials in the future about Cronos The New Dawn.
Man, I'm getting this immediately. Okay, so this is a summary of everything that was sort of mentioned in the combat preview, and I'm just making sure I didn't miss anything. No, I think everything was mostly covered here. They talk about some of the weapons, the javelin, rapid fire capacity, perfect for crowd control, which is good because you don't want to be ganged up on, I guess, and you want to see how that goes. The hammer does heavy damage at close range. It's ideal for finishing off tough enemies before they can merge, which seems like a melee weapon to me, though. I saw him punch the thing in the face, so maybe the hammer is those brass knuckle materials that sort of come on the traveler's hands, but I guess we'll see. I was thinking of an actual hammer, which I would not mind smashing against the otherworldly and alien enemies that I fight in this game. It says, in addition to careful resource management, yes, the enemies can merge, altering each encounter and exponentially increasing its difficulty in real time. I don't know, that was just that kind of spelled weird in my opinion. It's difficulty in real time. Let's see, what else do we have? One tool, yeah, the weapon scanner, all that other stuff. So yeah, this is a summary of like everything. There's special enemies that only appear in certain locations. I don't know if I missed that one, but that's, what does that remind me the fuck of? Special enemies. The only thing I can think of is, and I know it's stupid, but it's a perfect example actually, is doing certain tasks and parameters in Resident Evil 6 Mercenaries, and you can spawn certain enemies if you kill a certain amount of monsters or do a certain amount of counters. A special enemy will spawn on some of the maps, but this being detailed in a single player game, I don't mind. I want to sort of see and maybe get some incentive, but at most I think the only thing they're gonna do is be like, hey, you kill X amount of special enemies, here's a trophy. That's mostly it, right? Unless you get like a certain upgrade or whatever. I don't know. That'd be cool though, to have particular fights. I think, thinking of non-horror games, God of War had the stuff with the Valkyries, and that was pretty cool to see. So I wouldn't mind that in a horror game, and maybe you could test your might or die in the process. I guess we'll see. And there are some creatures that will act as traps. I guess maybe like a certain fleshy thing that was holding the player in this particular presentation. Let's go all the way back to, where the fuck was it? I know it was a tentacle monster grabbing somebody and they were like attached to a wall. And that might be the trap, where it's like if you get caught by that, you get held and other creatures will come and try to gangbang the fuck out of you. It just beat you up. I know it's somewhere. I don't know where it was in particular, but it was one creature holding. Yeah, I think I just went past it. That right there. Yeah, that's probably going to be a trap enemy. Mostly everything I'm seeing here, people, is something I'm curious about, intrigued. I want to discuss more. I want to get my hands on it and be thrilled to enjoy. I believe if this game is coming out fall of 2025, definitely. I can believe that October release date's happening. That doesn't really interfere with Silent Hill F, which is in September, but I will be playing it for sure. And then we'll be sort of sated as a nice little horror treat with 2 games that come out, and then afterwards is the road to Resident Evil Requiem, and that's also going to be its own thrill ride itself. But I'm very happy that horror gaming is thriving and we have a lot to eat, and hopefully this continues on in the future. But I'm Renegade Operative. I am signing out. Tell me what you guys thought of this Cronos The New Dawn news dump and presentation, and what do you think of all these horror games coming out? Sound off below and let me know. Sci-fi horror is back in the building, and EA, get off your ass and make another Dead Space. Por favor, please. Okay, I'll see you guys next time. Later.